Hello everyone, I'm Rob. If you've been following along, welcome back. If this is your first time checking me out, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see here today, hit that like button. If you want to continue to follow along, hit subscribe. Today we're out here in my vegetable raised bed. We're going to be planting some onions. There are 3 ways to plant onions. You can plant from seed, transplants, and bulb sets. When planting from seed, larger onions can take 2 or 3 years to grow. I suggest if you want to harvest within one season, only start things like scallions. The next way to go is transplants. You can buy these at your grocery store. They come in bundles. I bought my bundle about a month ago and planted them temporarily in some dirt. I'm going to wash the dirt that they're in off to plant them in the holes here. We'll get back to these more in a moment. The bulb sets you can buy in bags, and these are already started onions that can finish within the season. These transplants that I picked up, I've just got in small containers of dirt. I'm gonna let the dirt loose from their roots, soak them in some water to get them ready to transplant into the ground. Okay, now that I've got all the dirt cleaned off from storing them till now, this is about how you would normally buy them in the store in a pack, okay? What you're gonna do is just bring them home and separate them and put them in a bowl of water until you're ready to plant them. Once you get them all separated, before you plant them, you're only gonna wanna leave about half the green, I'd say about 6 inches. So you can just cut half of it off. Okay? And those will be ready to plant when I get the rows built. Onions prefer a dry, loose soil. They also prefer a fertilizer. This is an organic natural blend fertilizer. You can use any fertilizer. This is a 463. You can use 10 10 10, 5 5 5, whatever. You just want to get some good nutrients in the soil and then just turn it over. You don't have to go too deep. Onions are a shallow rooted vegetable. You just want to turn that over one time. I have a really dry vegetable mix for the carrots and the onions. They prefer a much drier soil. It causes them to grow larger. If the soil remains wet around the main roots, the vegetables will not expand. The onions, the carrots will not expand. Now that I've got that fertilizer in the soil, I'm just gonna wet it down gently. Make it easier to put some holes in there for the onions to set. These scallion seedlings need to be planted a 1/2 inch deep, about every 2 or 3 inches apart down the row. My first knuckle is about a 1/2 inch deep. So I'm just gonna put these seed holes in every 2 or 3 inches. I like to use a string line to help keep the rows straight. These are some really tiny seeds. I expect most of them to germinate, so I'm not gonna plant 2 in every one and thin them out. I'm just gonna drop 1 in there. I'm gonna build 2 more rows like that, and then I'll start to plant the transplants. Okay, now that I've got all the seeds in the holes, I'm just gonna cover them up lightly. And then lay out some holes for the transplants. I laid the holes out for these candy onion transplants 4 inches apart, and I staggered the rows to provide more growing area. With these transplants, you just want to take them, put them about 1 inch, 1.5 inches deep, bury them up to the top of the brown area, up to their neck basically of this area, the bulb. You just want to get the roots down in there and then bury them in. I'll do that with the rest of these transplants. Okay, I've laid the holes out for these onion set bulbs 6 inches apart and staggered the rows again. These onion sets come almost pre-started. This little green shoot you want to keep out of the dirt. You want to put this in down. So I'm just going to bury it like that. I don't eat a lot of red onions, so I'm only going to plant 3 red onions this year. I'm going to plant some white onions in the rest of this row. Couple more white onions in this row. So this will be my red onions. This will be my white onions. And then this will be my yellow onions. I cook with a lot of yellow onions, so I'm probably going to plant 1 more row of them. I'm going to save a little room up here in the front for my carrots on this side. At this point, the only thing left to do is water in gently. You'll want to water every 2 or 3 days. If your soil's really dry like mine, you might want to water every day at first. Once they get started, they need frequent watering, but you don't need to water every day. If it's really hot out, you may want to water them that day.